Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and we are presented by the Hula Bowl. This interview is sponsored by Undrdog Athletics. Undrdog Athletics is a Christian faith-based company that sells athletic wear. Undrdog stands for Underestimated, Never Defeated, Remain Dependent on God. Shop now at www.undrdogx.com. Today I have with me Neil Pau'u. He's a wide receiver out of BYU. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. It's interesting to get a chance to sit down with you, a big physical wide receiver out at BYU. So let's go ahead and learn a little bit about your story. Tell me maybe where you're from and just kind of how you got there to BYU.
Yeah, so I'm from California, born and raised there. I'm Tongan, so that's where my last name comes from. Yeah, raised with both parents. Have two brothers and four sisters. So a pretty big family, and God, family, education. Those were kind of the top three things that was kind of discussed in my family kind of growing up. And then everything else would kind of take care of itself. So I went to an all-guy Catholic school. I was part of the Trinity League. I went to Servite High School in Anaheim, California. Played football, basketball, and volleyball there all 4 years. And then moved to Santa Ana my senior year.
Interesting. And then eventually got recruited to go play out at BYU, right? Or is there any other time span in between there that we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting story in itself. So yeah, I went to BYU, or I went to a football camp my sophomore year. My brother had committed there for a senior year, and we had always talked about playing together when the time was there for us to do it. So I went to the camp, offered, and committed actually that day, which was kind of threw my parents in a shock because they heard about it and they just wanted to take things slow to hear, if other offers were to come. But yeah, just committed. I like looking back at it, I don't even know why I did. But I knew the one thing was that I did want to play with my brother, so I just kept that at the forefront. Yeah, and that's how I got to BYU.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, there's nothing bad, following your brother. I mean, shoot, I mean, and being a part of that family there at BYU, so obviously, really, I mean, over the past couple of years, man, like BYU is a threat. Let's just be real. I mean, let's go back, really even last season. I mean, shoot, I mean, you guys had really one of the better, quarterbacks in all of college football, and Zach Wilson. So, I mean, chat with me just a little bit about what it was like to play with him.
Yeah, we were kind of sad that we didn't get the schedule that that we had hoped for, because we knew the schedule that we were set up for was going to really tell, what the team was made of. Obviously, being able to still play 12 games, we still were able to do what we did and go 11-1, 12-1. But we wanted to see how we lined up against those teams. At BYU, being independent, we just kind of schedule teams and they fall where they can, depending on their schedules and their conferences and stuff. But that team was dope. It was a bunch of guys that wanted to prove themselves, because we had back-to-back years where we went 7-6, and some of those games, it was just weird because they were close, but we still lost. So it was just a matter of, putting that all together. And the guys, we had the talent there. It was just a matter of putting it together. And it was one special ride that we had last year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, like you guys having like an excellent, quarterback, also having like an excellent running back there as well. So I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you got to do your fair share of blocking there as well. Just because of the success in the running game, for sure. So. I want to talk about you as a prospect, if you don't mind. So,
Yeah.
I kind of want to take a moment, read what one of our scouts had to say about you. So, hear me out just a second. Said, shows good quickness and use of hands at the line of scrimmage to evade press attempts, gets into his routes with good efficiency, reads defenses quickly, working into holes, into zone coverage quickly, attacks ball at its highest point, uh, and good wide base at the point of attack in the run game with good physicality and willingness as a blocker. Um, so hearing that and really just hearing it from you, how would you just describe yourself, define yourself as a prospect going to the next level?
Yeah, I think I could do it all. The one thing our coach always talked about was that he's going to play the guys that do it every single play. So it's not guys that just go out and just want to catch the passes and stuff. So Fesi Sataki was a great receivers coach for me, and we had our ups and downs. But I love him as a coach, and I think he was the coach that was meant to be for me. But he taught me how to just be a consistent guy all the time. Um, and then as a prospect, yeah, I watched a lot of, being at BYU, I played a lot of slot. I knew I could play outside, but there's the faster guys that the coaches like to put outside. So I didn't mind playing in the slot. Also, they put a ton on my plate, knowing that I'm going to have to sit in zones, understand that there will be mans too. So you're just having to read that. Also having to block certain people. So blocking DNs to linebackers too, the secondary and stuff. So I watched just a lot of Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen. Those are my two guys that I love just watching film. I feel that you can learn things from guys like Julio, but they're just specimens that you just can't do what they do naturally. So those two guys, Devontae and Keenan, being able just to watch a ton of film on them and how they navigate themselves through holes, navigate themselves with man-to-man press, knowing that they can press or they can play off, was huge for me at BYU. And those are the guys I kind of relied on to understand and know how to play the position. But then also, I think just playing different sports and understanding feel with basketball and how certain players move and how to get open for certain threes, seeing different holes in volleyball when the ball's hit and how to cover different parts of the court. I think that all kind of played a role with watching film to playing those two sports, how that kind of translated to my game.
Gotcha. So, again, just kind of going back also to the reality, man, dude, you're a huge guy, 6'4", 215 pounds. I mean, again, like you were saying, sometimes really in the slot there so that you can take, a bigger wide receiver like yourself and maybe match him up like in blocking schemes against like these bigger guys like the linebackers and the defensive ends and what have you. But it's almost as if they could use you as maybe even like a move tight end a little bit. There just. I mean, I know that's not who you are, but I mean, you're obviously a bigger guy, can play that kind of, almost H back kind of thing, even depending
Yeah,
on people's schemes. So I mean, obviously, you could be on the outside, you can come inside and really be a solid blocker as well. Find those soft spots and coverages and get open and that sort of thing. So great stuff. What about you in like the wide receiver room, man? A lot of great wide receivers there. Do you find that you're one of the leaders there amongst your position group? Can you talk about that for a second?
yeah. Especially this year, I think we all knew that Zach was going to leave. I guess obviously before the media knew and stuff. So we knew that there was going to be a new quarterback. We knew that one of the other guys, Dax, he was leaving as well. So it kind of just fell onto me and another buddy, Gunnar Romney. We both knew that a lot of the leadership was not just in the receiver room, but as in the offense, the way that we wanted it to go and be the same productive offense that we were last year, bring that and be the same productive offense this year. We knew probably just, with the new quarterback, the ball is not just to be slung around the way that Zach was throwing it around last year.
Sure.
But we talked always about opportunities and the opportunity to lead, the opportunity to, go in there and block for 2 plays, or the opportunity to go up and get a touchdown to win the game or get a big first down. That was just kind of the way that I saw it. So guys turned to me as one of those guys. And me and Gunner, it was a good divvy between how we conducted the room. It was all about, fun and having fun, because that was one of our coach's big thing. But also when it's time to get serious and time to perfect the craft, that was also instilled in us as well. So I took that very serious. And when it's time to work out, it's time to work out. When it's time to practice, it's time to practice. And that's the way I just look at things. I think rewards are given to those that work hard. And there might be obstacles that come within the journey and stuff, but it's all part of the journey. So that's I feel that I was, and I feel that as a receiving group, we did a great job with the amount of balls and targets that were given to us, and we try to make the best play out of it.
Great, great. You kind of chatted about it there just briefly. I mean, obviously, throughout the course of the week, you guys have to go through your daily grind. I mean, you have to get in the film room and the weight room, take care of your responsibilities there. Let's just kind of sit for a second there in the film room. I mean, obviously, you got to watch other teams, yourself, try and better your game, do the best you can. So tell me a little bit about maybe perhaps how that has developed, and maybe perhaps even an instance where you and your work there in the film room really played out like in a game time situation.
Yeah. So knowing that the quarterback position, it was going to be a little different compared to Zach. We knew that more than last year that we'll face a lot of man. So going into the off season, that was kind of my focus on. I feel that I had a good understanding of zones, and I had been with Fessy for a good amount of years, so we had then talked about a bunch of the zones and what they could, if the Sam or the nickel were to blitz, what they could roll to and how they would roll to it, what different coverages. So I worked a lot on that. But film is an interesting thing where you go and you really just want to see all the plays that you made throughout the day, see how you caught it, how you released. The biggest thing for me was understanding that that the only way for me to get better is to learn from other people as well. And I was learning from NFL guys and stuff, but I'm not really teammates with them. So it was watching each play as its own and seeing the receiver room, how they were able to block a certain type of run, or how are they able to run a certain route against a certain dude on the team. And that enabled me and allowed me to understand that, you're going to get different looks and stuff, especially with the way that our defense plays. So these techniques might work compared to what you thought compared to what you thought it would work. So it was cool just to learn from other guys that never even touched the field really, other guys that were just punt returners or whatever. I learned a lot from the guys in the receiver room. So it was dope to just learn from them and to continue to grow from them. And how that translated to the field, there were some teams that, we knew going into it that they would go man. And after we got them out of man or whatever, they went strictly zone. And they knew the way that our offense was set up, that it was to take away a lot of middle of the field type of diagram plays and stuff. So I was able to deal with not only one-on-one matchups with, getting double covered or whatever, them bracketing me or whatever. So I was just learning different things. So one of the plays that comes to mind was against Utah. Some dude that came out and talked a bunch of nonsense. about how, we should bring our lunch pails or whatever. And they ran zone most of the game anyways. But they had bracketed me. There was a back-to-back plays where they went man the first play. They played outside leverage. We didn't get that much against Arizona. And then the next play, it was kind of the same route concept, but then they bracketed me. But just from understanding the film that I watched throughout the week and then watching in our receiver room, I was able to understand how the nickel plays and how the safety plays, because those are the guys that I really go up against. And if they were to bring the corner over, then I understand as well how that dude plays. So there's a bunch of positions that you deal with when you're in the slot compared to when you're outside. You either get one of the two corners. So it was cool just to see how they play their nickel, how they play their safeties. And then it was an interesting thing going week from week, how each team just changes it up, how they take away certain things, how they run their defense type deal. But it's cool how film kind of just develops as even the play, as you say, hike, you're running and you start to see different things and it's all kind of thrown at you. But, if you do enough of the hard work that I've been talking about, and you'll be ready for those moments.
Sure. So I mean, it's kind of like finding yourself like in the Matrix there, and
Yeah, it's kind of
you know,
cool.
and knowing exactly what you need to do at the moment. So I mean, I really appreciate that. Uh, Neil, let's just chat a little bit. I mean, obviously, you were chatting there, about one moment there against Utah. I mean, obviously, one of your guys' rivals for sure. So, what's been the highlight of your career there at BYU?
Um, that's a good question. I've had a lot of lessons here at BYU. Um, I think there's probably has to be two. One of them was scoring the first ever catch I had. I took it to the crib, and then I got to celebrate that with my brother. So he had jumped out. We got a chest bump or whatever, but my head was all over the place. And then two, I learned. So I got a DUI 2019. I think that was one of the biggest lessons that not only I got as a football player, but as a man, understanding that the world continues to move and it can slowly forget about you. Taking time to reevaluate myself, talk with my coaches, but especially lean on my family to overcome such a thing. It was dope. And to look back at it, there wasn't, would I go back and change it? I don't know if I would. Just to be able to learn from that, learn that, you think you're on top of the world, and next time you do something, you could be completely forgotten about and moved on from. So that moment for sure, and being able to come closer with my family because I needed them at that time and moment. Those two are probably my dopest moments at BYU.
Sure. So I mean, obviously, being able to uh, again, we're just kind of circling back to again is just like all of these moments that you're really incorporating your family, getting closer to your family.
Yeah.
Sounds a whole lot like that. I mean, obviously that's like number one priority for you, which I think is excellent. Um, so let's kind of add to that a little bit. I really want to know more about this Neil Pau'u guy, outside of sports. So, I mean, obviously, there being a family guy, being family centric, but tell me something more about you that maybe not everybody knows. Hobbies, interests, something fun. Go ahead and give me something if you don't mind.
Something random. I like to go to the beach, but I don't actually like to go in the ocean. I like to just kick it in the sand and kick there with family. I still love to hoop when we do get to play, and love to play volleyball just with friends. Growing up, just played it all the time at church activities, whatever it was. And then I just picked up a hobby, I guess, of playing Call of Duty. I never played
Okay.
games. I never played games up until the second week of last year, I got COVID, and they postponed our game between us and Army. That's when
Mm.
I picked up the sticks, and ever since then, um, I've kind of been attached to the game system. Um, but I guess it keeps me out of trouble, and I like to just stay inside. So I like to be, super chill. Like to just kick it with friends, kick it with family. Um, and yeah.
Sure. So, hey, I mean, again, just kind of want to get back to the fact that, I mean, obviously we invited you to the Hula Bowl, so that you can showcase your talents there. Um, Interestingly enough, I mean, obviously being of Tongan descent, being, Polynesian, what would it mean for you, to really represent, you and your culture, at the Hula Bowl?
I, it'll be cool. I know it's just another opportunity just to showcase obviously what I can do and stuff. But I think it's huge for me to represent not only the culture but my family as well. Understanding in our culture that our last name carries weight, not only through the islands but wherever we're at. There's not a lot of Polynesians in the world, I feel like. Um, so your last name carries weight to um, certain tribes, certain islands, whatever it is. So just understanding that, being able to represent more so my last name, understanding that there's my family behind it. I think that'll be the most important part of the week. Obviously, going out and performing well, but I think that'll be at the top of the list, and then performing well.
Awesome, awesome. Definitely going to get a chance to do that. I mean, I feel like you're going to do a good job representing, all of those people, of course. I mean, your school, your family, and all of that. You know, uh, Neil, I mean, obviously, the goal is to get to the next level. So, I mean, to get drafted and all of that. I mean, I'm sure that there have been scouts that have been, really to all of your games over the past couple of years. I mean, really focusing on, you know, uh, you and a whole lot of your other teammates. But I want you to just kind of take a moment and address all of those scouts. Talk to them a little bit about perhaps the what they would be getting if they took a chance on you, drafted you, signed you, and what kind of player you would be for their organization. So go ahead and hit them with your pitch if you don't mind.
My pitch is they're gonna get someone that's um, obviously I think I'm gonna be in the slot first and foremost, and I know that they look at that position and outside receivers completely different. But I think they're gonna get a slot receiver that works his tail off. I think that I'm the best slot in the country. Um, but also that, yeah, someone that works hard, doesn't take anything for granted, has learned a lot here at BYU, obviously from his DUI and his route to get to BYU. Um, but someone that you can rely on, someone that's the same in front of them and when they're not there as well. You're gonna get the same hardworking guy that loves football. And I love to watch film. I love to watch other guys. I love to get critiqued. So an all-around guy that just wants to win. And these past 2 years, we were able to win a lot. But I know it's not just me for being the reason for it. I was just a small part of it, and just want to be a small part of a winning culture, or create that winning culture for sure.
Sure. So, I mean, again, being a part of a very successful program, I mean, having that winning culture, that winning attitude for sure. I mean, and again, I mean, having a guy of your size, almost 6'4", 215 pounds. I mean, uh, there are a lot of teams that really could use a wide receiver like yourself. I mean, whether it be, in the slot, outside. I mean, red zone options. I mean, obviously you have a guy like that that I could throw to. I mean, kind of, use your catch radius in order to, be that excellent target that you are. So, I do feel like a lot of scouts really need to, dive into that tape a little bit more and really come down to Orlando and see you perform at the Hula Bowl. So, really looking forward to that.
No, for sure. I'm excited
Um,
as well.
Again, you could see Neil Pau'u and a whole lot of other great athletes at the Hula Bowl on January 15th in Orlando, Florida. You can purchase those tickets at Ticketmaster.com. This interview was sponsored by Undrdog Athletics. You can visit their website to shop for athletic gear, UndrdogX.com. Thanks again, Neil, for this interview, okay?
No, thank you for having me.